Ladies and gents, you know it's supposed to clean up gang and I don't miss nothing at all. So I'm pretty sure everyone got the news that Keith Thurman and Errol Spence Jr. is supposed to be fighting at 154 for no belts, right? And what I'm trying to understand is, right, I'm gonna get off topic just for a little bit, is how Keith Thurman, right? He relinquished the WBC belt because of injury, and Sean Porter and Danny Garcia ended up fighting for a vacant belt, right? And we all know that Sean Porter beat Danny Garcia, and Errol Spence Jr. took that WBC belt from Sean Porter, right? So my question is, how the hell did Keith Thurman become the WBA mandatory for Errol Spence Jr. when he lost the WBA belt to Manny Pacquiao, right? He didn't relinquish that belt. He lost that belt, right? How did he become the mandatory for the WBA belt? Shouldn't he be the mandatory for the WBC belt? The fact that he relinquished that belt, he didn't really lose that belt. I'm not understanding how boxing works, right? I don't understand how boxing works. So Gilberto Mendoza gave Errol Spence Jr. a pardon, permission to fight at 154 for no strap, right? Meanwhile, Keith Thurman is the mandatory. I don't know how for Errol Spence Jr.'s belt, Errol Spence Jr.'s WBA belt at 147, right? And they gave Errol Spence Jr. 60 days to fight Terrence Crawford. We know that is not going to happen, right? We know that's not going to happen, even though Gilberto Mendoza told Errol Spence Jr., all right, Errol, you can keep your belts, right? Under what circumstances? I don't know how. I don't know how. When you're the president of the United States, right? You got rules. You can't even pass a law without going through other branches. You can't pass a law. You can't do nothing when you're the president. So under what circumstances and who gave Gilberto Mendoza the go-ahead to pardon Errol Spence Jr. to fight Keith Thurman at 154 when he's his mandatory at 147 for the WBA strap, which I don't know how he became the mandatory, right? So we got to figure out, how did Keith Thurman became the mandatory for the WBA strap, right? That Gilberto Mendoza can pardon Errol Spence Jr., right? Can pardon Errol Spence Jr. to fight Keith Thurman at 154. So we all see what's going on. We all see that this is Al Heyman working overtime. Al Heyman is paying these sanctioning bodies for favors because Keith Thurman skipped the line. How did he become the number one contender for the WBA strap? Do you know why? Because they can't pull that shit with Mauricio Suleiman, because Mauricio Suleiman, he's under a magnifying glass because he did a whole lot of corruption shit in the past. So you know what Al Heyman did? He said, we're going to go over here to Gilberto Mendoza. We're going to pay him a little bit of change, right? So Keith Thurman could become the mandatory for the WBA strap, right? So we could give Errol Spence Jr. a pardon to fight Keith Thurman at 154 just to get money. Just for money. It's all about money. It's all about power when it comes to boxing. Do you guys remember when Yordenis Ugas was supposed to be in a tournament, was ordered in a tournament by the same WBA? That's what I'm trying to get to y'all. Y'all got to pay attention. The WBA ordered Yordenis Ugas in a tournament that he never competed in, right? Never competed in. He never competed in that tournament, bro. And right after Errol Spence Jr. Recovered from his injury, they ordered the fight with Errol Spence Jr. and Yordenis Ugas. When Yordenis Ugas was supposed to be competing in a tournament that he never competed in, bro. He never competed in that tournament. So you mean to tell me this is a coincidence? That Gilberto Mendoza, right, just pardoned Errol Spence Jr. and Keith Thurman to fight at 154 when Keith Thurman is the mandatory at 147 for the WBA strap? You mean to tell me it's a coincidence that the WBA ordered Yordenis Ugas in a tournament that he never competed in, and right when Errol Spence Jr. recovered from injury, they made the fight happen between Errol Spence Jr. and Yordenis Ugas. This is no coincidence, bro. This is just to show you that boxing is just a corrupted sport. Now, I know I'm off topic. I want to get to why I'm showing you guys the ranking for the WBO. But what sport you ever seen? Just take basketball, for example. Imagine the Lakers and the Celtics is in the finals, right? That means they earn that spot to be in the finals, right? And then Adam Silver is paying the Lakers and saying, you know what, LeBron? We're going to have your team sit out for this finals, right? We're going to pay y'all and have y'all sit out for this finals because we want the Dallas Mavericks to be in the finals. Meanwhile, the Dallas Mavericks didn't even make it to the finals. But some way, somehow, Adam Silver paid off the Lakers so the Dallas Mavericks should be in the finals with the Boston Celtics. Imagine if that would have happened in basketball. It couldn't happen in basketball. But in boxing, it's allowed to happen. Same with UFC. Say if Daniel Cormier was the #1 contender for John Jones' belt, and Dana White paid Daniel Cormier and said, you know what? We want Alexander to fight John Jones. So we're going to pay you money, right? For you to step aside so John Jones and Alexander could fight. That doesn't happen in any other sport but boxing, bro. Boxing is openly bribing fighters to step aside so other fighters could take their spot to replace them to fight the champions. That doesn't happen in any other sport. There is no rules for the sanctioning bodies. There's no rules followed by none of these presidents, bro. Marusa Suleiman already got caught for corruption already. So they couldn't ask him for no more favors. So they went to Gilberto Mendoza. Gilberto Mendoza is working overtime for Al Heyman, bro. Because Al Heyman is paying them money. So we all know that Errol Spence Jr., him moving to 154 is letting the whole world know that this is my debut at 154. And I'm going to drop all my belts at 147, right? This fight was just a money fight for us to earn a little bit of money for Keith Thurman, because he got 120 days. It's not 120 days no more to fight Jerron Bruce Ennis. The IBF ordered that, and he got 60 days to make to negotiate with Turnbull Crawford so they could get in the ring with each other. He's not gonna fight none of them, bro. He's not gonna fight none of them. He's not gonna fight Turnbull Crawford. He's gonna move up to 154, right? And the same thing that's happening at 147 is gonna happen at 154. Now, I don't know how it's going to work out with Jermell Charlo being undisputed. He got all the belts at 154. Jermell Charlo probably is going to have to drop one of the belts. Errol Spence Jr. is going to fight for a vacant belt. And it's going to be the same thing, right? The PBC is going to hold all the belts on their side, right? And then when Turnbull Crawford gets to 154, they're going to freeze him out. They're going to freeze him out, guys. Now, let me tell you guys the reason why I showed you guys the WBO ranking system. It's just to show you how corrupted boxing is. So, Virgil Ortiz, right? We know that he's not ranked in the WBO no more. He can't fight Turnbull Crawford because he decided to fight, what's his name? Stanley Nunes. And we know that Jerron Bruce Ennis won the IBF route because he decided to fight Chuka Change, right? So, that leaves Keith Thurman, right? And I don't think Keith Thurman is... I think Keith Thurman is still ranked in the WBO because he's not fighting Errol Spence Jr., right, for a belt at 147, right? He's fighting Errol Spence Jr. just for a regular exhibition at 154 for no strap at all, right? So Keith Thurman, I think, is still ranked in the WBO. Correct me if I'm wrong. Y'all can comment and let me know if I'm wrong. Keith Thurman is still ranked in the WBO. So all the three noticeable names, right? Virgil Ortiz, Jerron Bruce Ennis, they decided to go other ways. They're not gonna fight Turnbull Crawford. And Keith Thurman, we all know he tried to pull a fast one and ask for $10 million to fight Turnbull Crawford. That was Al Heyman's work, right? Just to price himself out, knowing that he's not gonna get $10 million. He never earned $10 million, so he's not gonna get $10 million, right? So all the three noticeable names, right, that was ranked on the WBO, right? None of them are fighting Turnbull Crawford, right? But Errol Spence Jr. fans could look at Terrence Bud Crawford and say he's fighting tomato cans, right? When none of these noticeable names took it up on themselves to stay in the rankings of the WBO to earn the opportunity to fight Terrence Bud Crawford. Virgil Ortiz was the mandatory. The mandatory. But what happened? He went the WBC route, right? He said, forget that. I'm going to go the WBC route. Virgil Ortiz was ranked second, right? And what he did, he fought Chuka Change, and now he went the IBF route. We know Keith Thurman ain't gonna fight Bud. So all the three noticeable names, right, that are known by hardcore boxing fans and some of the casuals, right? None of these guys wants to fight Terrence Bud Crawford. So who's next on the list? Y'all see it. Y'all see the 4th spot. And you know what y'all gonna call him? A tomato can. But the tomato can is the only person that's willing to get in the ring with Terrence Bud Crawford. And y'all wonder why Terrence Bud Crawford's resume looks the way it does. Because none of these guys want to fight this man, bro. None of these guys want to fight this man, bro. And I just broke it down for y'all, bro. I want somebody comment and argue with anything that I'm saying. Argue with anything that I'm saying. Comment and argue with anything that I'm saying. Comment and argue with anything that I'm saying. I need somebody to answer all these questions. How is the sanctioning bodies allowed to pardon fighters to fight at a higher weight class for no belts when they're the mandatory at 147 for a belt? Who gave the president Gilberto Mendoza that type of power to do that? Who gave him that type of power to do that? Under what circumstances is he allowed to do that? We don't know. But this is what boxing is. There's no rules. It's all run by money and power, bro. It's all run by money and power. So now they're going to freeze Terrence Bud Crawford out, right? Terrence Bud Crawford is going to continuously fighting people that the casuals doesn't know, and they're going to talk about he's fighting tomato cans when none of these guys want to fight him, bro. None of these guys. You see Danny Garcia. Listen to this. Just pay attention to this. Danny Garcia fought Sean Porter, right? Danny Garcia fought Errol Spence Jr., right? Danny Garcia fought Keith Thurman, right? These are supposed to be the top welterweights at 147, right? Who is next for Danny Garcia? Who's the next top welterweight for Danny Garcia to fight? Terrence Bud Crawford, right? What did Danny Garcia decide to do? Move up to 154, bro. Move up. But Danny Garcia is supposed to be a top welterweight, right? But Danny Garcia said, you know what? I'm going to move up to 154. I'm not going to fight Terrence Bud Crawford. So this just to show you that none of these guys want to fight. The only person I think is willing to get in the ring with Bud is Yordenis Ugas. He's the only person that I think is willing to get in the ring with Bud is Yordenis Ugas. But we all know if Bud stops Yordenis Ugas, knock him out, y'all gonna say, well, Errol Spence Jr. broke his face, right? But y'all not gonna say that, yo, Errol Spence Jr. went life and death with Sean Porter, but Terrence Bud Crawford stopped Sean Porter. So it doesn't matter what Terrence Bud Crawford does. It literally doesn't matter what Terrence Bud Crawford does. They're going to try to freeze him out of boxing, bro. But you know what you can't stop? You can't stop his legacy. You can't stop that he's a 3-weight division champion. He wiped out a whole weight division in 140. He was a lineal champion in each weight division. And they're trying to stop him and stop his progress at 147. They're trying to stop his progress before he even gets to 154. Jermell Charlo's already turning down fights with Terrence Bud Crawford. So we all see what boxing is, bro. It's just a sad sport, right? And no matter what promotional company Terrence Bud Crawford signed with, it's gonna be the same. They want him to sign a slave contract with the PBC so they could control him, like how the PBC fighters are being controlled by Al Heyman. Y'all don't see how Sean Porter is behaving now? Sean Porter told the whole world that the belt don't mean nothing. But yet still him and Danny Garcia was fighting for a vacant belt. The vacant belt. They were fighting for the WBC vacant belt. If it didn't mean nothing, why are you guys fighting for the vacant belt? It's a vacant belt. It didn't mean nothing. Danny Garcia didn't do nothing at 147 for Sean Porter to sit here and want to fight Danny Garcia. What did Danny Garcia do? He lost to Keith Thurman just like how he lost to Sean Porter. But Sean Porter decided to fight for the vacant belt. If belts don't mean nothing, why are you fighting for the vacant belt, Sean Porter? So you're seeing that Al Heyman still have a hand in Sean Porter's decisions and have a hand in what Sean Porter says, right? Because Sean Porter basically shit on Turnbull Crawford because Turnbull Crawford was undisputed. He said that he didn't know what undisputed was, right? The belts don't matter, right? But you're fighting for a vacant belt, Sean Porter. You fought for a vacant belt, Sean Porter. So it's weird, bro. It's like Al Heyman is controlling boxing in general, and until Al Heyman leaves boxing, bro, boxing is gonna be a piece of shit. And then y'all gonna say that, oh, what about the other promoters? Well, the other promoters, they already got caught doing fuck shit. Pardon my language. Al Heyman, he's supposed to be black. Oh, he's the next Black Hope, right? He's doing this. He got this degrees. He's paying these fighters. No, he's paying these fighters so these fighters can be slaves, bro. So they can't fight who they want to fight. We seen Jamel Charlo said, why don't I choose who I want to fight? Why don't I choose who I want to fight for once? Because he can't choose who he wants to fight. He can't. Al Heyman does that for him. So y'all see what I got for y'all. If y'all enjoyed this content, make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all share this video. And subscribe to my new channel. The name changed, but I remain the same. Right? And I'm out.